Hey guys, welcome back to Christian Gradowski Fishing. We are doing a little tying video today of the Russ Maddin Chromatic Peanut. You can buy this pattern through Montana Fly Company at your local fly shop. But I'm going to show you a color variation that I really like for kind of our northern Michigan rivers. And this is a dual purpose fly. I fish a lot of this with bass too. Mostly it is a trout streamer, and I'll show you a picture right here somewhere of the trout that I got on this fly earlier this March. But it's an awesome upper Michigan streamer to make sure you have in your box. So we're gonna get right into it real quick. So this pattern is tied on the rear hook of a Gamakatsu B10S size 2. And then I have 50 denier Vivus right here, right there. So right there we're starting. Then we're gonna get into some black marabou real quick. So we got our tail piece. We're gonna pluck the center stem so we have a nice flat piece of marabou right here, just like that. Nice tail right there. We're gonna add that in. I like to do a little bit longer than the hook shank itself, so right there looks good to me. Place that. We're gonna go a couple wraps up and down so that we secure it. And then we are going to, like Russ says, because this is Russ's fly, send it to the army. So there we go. So now we are tying this guy in, nice and tied in, get all these wraps all matted down. There we go. So we got our tail in there. So then the next step is going to be getting yourself some Montana Fly Company barred marabou. And this is going to be a black and olive fly, but I really like the barred marabou by MFC here. So no stem rip out on this one. We are just going to encase it on top and kind of roll it to the side of our black and our shank so that it kind of entraps everything in there. Get a couple wraps in, and then we're gonna cut this guy out of here. Once that's tied in, we are going to move straight into our chenille, our body material for this hook. And chenille we're going to use today, I really like this on these darker flies, is the Polar Chenille Dark Gray. So we're going to tie that out the back. I like to leave it in the package. And we're going to go like that. And then we are going to wrap that around all of our hook shank. I like to go a little bit thick with this because the Polar Chenille is kind of what I would call curly. It's not as straight as Palmer Chenille and stuff like that, so I like to really get a nice layer of it on there, get it nice and coated up. So as we work towards the front of the hook, we're going to leave a little bit of room to work with, so we don't want to crowd our eye here. So right there, spin that around, get a couple wraps on top, get in front, and you are locked in right there. We're going to send that to the barber right there. Send it to the army. We got to keep saying send it to the army for us. And then we're going to wrap down, make sure we got it all nice and flat. Make sure we got a nice coat of thread up here. And a little trick I learned years ago, because I come from mostly the bass fishing world of everything. These are jig skirts that you'd use for jigs for bass fishing. But they make awesome colors, a lot more and a lot less expensive than most fly tying legs. And they do the exact same thing, they just don't say fly tying. So we're gonna cut 2 off. We're gonna add 2 out the side right here. I've never had an issue with not doubling them back and them coming through. Just make sure you wrap them down nice and tight. So there's 2, and then we're gonna add 2 more of these barred olive to the other side. Give that a snip and wrap that in nice and well. Get it all tied in there, nice and perfect. There we go. So we got our rubber legs on. Next we are going to take some olive schlappen. Just going to take a nice healthy one, and we're going to go a little bit down the stem so that we have kind of the longer pieces starting up. And then we're going to just tie that in like you normally would a feather out the back. Clip it, and then you're going to palmer a nice kind of lighter schlappen collar on this. I just go kind of one after another, a little bit of spacing, but not too much spacing. You just want a nice even kind of coat to encase all of that polar chenille you put on. So once you're there, wrap it around, get it all locked down like that. And we're here for Russell, so send it to the army. Give it a haircut. So nicely done. We're gonna whip that all down, and then we are going to do our hand whip finish or half hitches, whatever you guys want to do, go ahead and do it. Oh, broke the thread on the pole. That's why I usually use a 100 denier. Should have changed it up. Just tie back in. Give that a snip, brush everything back. If you break your thread, you do not need to freak out. Just encompass everything that you were just doing with your new thread point, and whip, whip, whip. There we go. A lot better that time, right? Give it a snip. I caught a hair here. Clip that off. Clip my excess thread. So there's the back right there. Super easy, super simple. You could probably almost fish that. You could put a cone head on that, fish that as like a fancy woolly bugger, but we're gonna add a second hook. So that's where we're gonna go to the B10S size 1. And we're gonna pull one of these guys out real quick. We're gonna put that in the old vise right there. And I am gonna switch threads because I'm using the lighter thread. I'm going to a white, and it does not matter what color. It never has for me. I'm just using black usually, but we're going to the white to tie in our connection loop. So first thing we're gonna do is get yourself some Berkley Big Game Mono. 30 or 40 pound is what I usually tie with. I don't go any stronger, any lighter than that. And we're gonna put it on that one side right there, facing me, wrap it all the way back. Make sure it's standing up nice and straight. And then we are playing with the new MFC teardrop beads today. So I got one of those. I haven't messed with much of these new beads, but I think I'm gonna go teardrop like that. But I also was thinking like maybe I keep it more blunt, kind of push it out farther and do the drop off that. I haven't really decided yet and what gives the most wiggle, but for streamline, aerodynamics, we're gonna go like that, and we're just gonna thread that line through. And the reason why we don't use wire all that much here in Michigan is because we fish a lot, but that's just everywhere. But the reason why we don't use the mono, we use mostly mono, is because wire kinks, and once wire kinks, it's kind of messed up and you no longer have a working fly because it will break if you get a big fish that just takes the rear end. We're gonna fold those back. I don't know if you guys can see that. We wanna make sure we fold all those back right there. And trap all that down. Don't use your nice fancy scissors on the 30 pound or 40 pound, it will dull them. I'm gonna get those all locked up right there. You could glue it, make it stronger. I've never seen it need glue, as long as you get a good coat on it. But now that we have that coat, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, cinch it, or you could just half hitch like that. So give that a snip, and that will be just fine. And now we'll go back to our black to kind of finish out the fly. And now we're back to our black thread. We are going to add the eyes of this. And the eyes are a key part. So these are just B chain eyes, 4 of them. These are the mediums. But what a lot of people don't realize is where your weight's at and here, let's do it like that. Wherever your weight is and where you put it, it's gonna give the fly a lot more action, right? So if I have them butted way back here, the fly's gonna almost kind of just sink flat or jig down. But if I get it right up to the front here, it's gonna kind of fall, and then when I kick it, it will have that nice side to side kind of kick motion like a bait fish does. So we're gonna really butt those eyes up close. Do a couple of wraps just one way, and then a couple of wraps the other way is how I like to start it. And then I sit here and I do all my figure eights. And honestly, there's no rhyme or reason to which which way I go with all these. I just kind of keep going until I really can't move them with my fingers lightly. So that way I know they won't move while I'm casting. So we're going to get a nice coat here. And like I said, this does not look pretty how I'm doing this. We are just doing it, right? So right there. And then as you can see, I can barely kind of move those with my fingers. So that's all the wind's going to do. So now we're going to go all the way back here. Get right back up to that piece right there. We are going to grab a little bit more black marabou. This time we're going to just pop that top, and this is going to be a very light piece. Sometimes I will not, I don't want to make it long, right? So sometimes what I'll do is I will lay a base layer like this. Boop, 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 boop. Give that a snip, and then I'll grab these side pieces of the marabou so we're not wasting marabou, and give it a little bit more like that. That way it's not fully covering all this, it's just making a nice kind of cross between the bead and it's not as visible. Does it really matter? Probably not. Could you just get away with not even putting it on there? Probably, but we're doing it. So there we go. And then we're going to go back to our nice dark olive polar chenille, gray olive polar chenille. And then we're going to stop it right where we did our connection turn back, and we are going to muster all this up to the front here, getting a nice wrap, palmering it back over. Real easy stuff. This shouldn't be a fly that takes you more than 10 minutes. I'm kind of talking and working slow. And then once we get up to the front, I like to do 1, 2, and then wrap it, grab it, and lock it down. All right, now once that's locked down, we are going to do a nice little coat of thread here. And then we are going to grab our schlappen again, just like that. And we're going to find a little bit of a thinner piece of schlappen, so like this one. And all I'm looking for is just nice, longer, but not as thick, right? And that way we can come from the, this way, I gotta find the nice middle point. The middle point is, you see how they all kind of get bigger as they go to the bottom? I want to find a point to where they all kind of start at the same length. Think about right there is what I'm gonna be working with. So right there, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That is locked down, and then we are gonna move our thread forward to right behind our eyes, because that's where we're gonna stop with this. And don't worry, I didn't forget the rubber legs. I like to add them on the outside of this so that they have some kick. So as we work forward, just palmering it up. Nice even wraps. There we go. We get a little bit of that fluffy stuff at the end here. And then we wrap around, go behind it. There we go. Give it a snip. And there we go. So now we're going to lock all this down. There we go. That's looking good to me. Now we're going to add 2 more rubber legs, maybe even 3. I think we're going to go 3 each side for the head this time. I like to add them on the front because I think it kind of shows them more. I think some people kind of do them behind the collar. I can't remember exactly what Russ's exact recipe is. Maybe he's got a scientific reason behind why he wants them in the back or the front. I just think they give a lot more action when they are in the front of that collar because they kind of get pushed off the collar. So there, and wrap all that down. There we go. Bingo. And a lot of this is kind of imitating sculpins. So to finish it off, we're doing a Senyo's Chromatic 1 inch wide, 1.5 inch wide black brush. So we're going to get that wire. We're going to tie that wire down in there. Oh, there we go. And make sure you grab your clippers, not your scissors. And now we're going to take our thread to the front. And now we're going to do our wraps with our brush. And a lot of people ask me like, oh, why does it look like it's all matted down and looks funky? Well, that's because it's going to at first. Like right there, like that doesn't look like much, right? You guys can kind of see that it looks kind of crappy, but we have to tie it in. I think we're gonna do one more head wrap right here. There we go. There we are. Give our wire a nice close snip. And then we are going to wrap that down really good. Kind of wiggle our eyes around, get some space up in the eye of the hook. And then I like to feel around, see if I can feel that wire. If I can't feel that wire, I know I did a good job covering it up with thread. And that way, if I'm fishing light or tippet, I will never have to worry about it breaking. We're going to do 3 hand whips here. Perfect. Then one final, send it to the army, give it a haircut. There we go. And then we're going to take our needle, bobbin needle, and we are going to start working out this brush. And you're going to see this brush kind of come to life after I work with it for a couple seconds. Because that's what a lot of people don't realize, that if you just put these brushes on and don't brush them out or don't do what I'm doing with this needle and kind of pulling everything out, it's going to look flat and kind of stupid. So we are going to work this through. And as you can see, it's really starting to come to life here and get a lot of like nice splay on the brush. I think I'm almost done. I really like to just look for like little loops in the brush hairs, and that's how it's going to tell you. But there you guys go. That is a simple chromatic peanut pattern by Russ Maddin. Love this fly, love this pattern. It does wonders. And like I said, caught a 25 3/4 on this fly this year. So I kind of love this pattern a lot. A lot of the times, ooh, zooming out. A lot of the times with this pattern is we are fishing kind of usually in that spring, kind of late winter with this guy. It's a really good late winter spring pattern right here. And I fished this a lot on like 200, 250s, and I fished them on 300s. When I got this, that 25, I got this, that fish on a 300 grain. So it fishes really well on the heavy stuff. It casts well on the light stuff too. I've fished this size all the way down to about a 6 weight before. It's a little bit hard on a 6 weight once it gets all wet, but it can still be done. And that's what I really like about it. So kind of a very versatile fly. You can also tie this on size 4 and size 2, or size 8 and size 6 and size 4. You can do all sorts of different variations for different rivers of your size of your bait fish. But this is kind of the staple size, which is a little bit longer than my finger. I'd say it's about, oop, not trying to do that, but it's about, say, oh, wait, hold on. I got a tape measure somewhere. Maybe I don't. Never mind, no tape measure. So, but yeah, guys, give that guy a whirl. Change it up. I will also do a bunch of different color variations, but this is the olive and black with the barred MFC marabou in the back. And that right there, guys, I'm going to catch you a big trout. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a good one, and hope you enjoy these time videos. Thank you.